Hi, I'm Julie Heard, and with me, as always, is Kate Foggo as we get ready for yet another episode of Making Like Two Humans Being. Are you ready, Kate?
All
right.
I am.
Okay, so this week, what we thought, and I'm going to say real quickly, Kate's about to go on holidays, so this will be I don't want to say this will be our last episode because that's not true, but there'll be a little pause between this episode and the next episode. There'll be about a 2-week pause, so just know that, but we'll be back, don't worry about it. And I'm sure she's going to come back with loads of inspiration. Anywho, today it is currently a new moon in Scorpio. I know this much about astrology, enough to be like really, really dangerous. Yeah.
I don't even know enough to be dangerous.
You know your star sign though, right?
I know I'm a Sagittarius and I know we're pretty fucking cool, but outside of that,
everybody's fucking cool. But yes, you're super cool.
Oh, not Capricorn.
Oh, throw down some Capricorn. Dang. Okay, so I know that it's a new moon right now. And I know that we just had yesterday, we had yesterday being, sorry, let me look at the date. So we get October 25th, there was a solar eclipse that occurred in Scorpio. And I follow Chani Nichols, who has an app. It's fabulous. I can't talk about it enough. And I, again, know enough to be dangerous. So I get a daily horoscope, a weekly horoscope, and an annual horoscope, as well as my natal chart. I get all this cool stuff. Makes me even more dangerous. But she said Monday, she said on Monday from my horoscope was that this solar eclipse is asking me to clear any, quote, psychic gunk from my root system, which is fabulous. I just don't know what psychic gunk I have. I don't think I know. I'm sure I probably know, but I'm avoiding it, which might be part of the psychic gunk. So I was asking Kate if she wouldn't mind doing a little bit of soul level intuitive coaching so that I understand what I'm clearing. So I
would caveat this to say it may not be intuitive, soul level intuitive coaching. Might be more like ask my guides.
It's okay.
Don't know. Well, it depends. If it points at a soul lesson, so just for the general public, that's the one. Ask your guides is getting guidance from your guides. Obviously, soul level intuitive coaching, we actually are looking at the underlying beliefs. So although you may look at the same stuff, the whole point of it is for me to get Julie to recognize and articulate her underlying negative belief that's driving the behavior. So it may turn out that way, but interesting. So I just have a little story. I don't know why it's coming up, maybe relevant or not, or maybe I'm just tooting my own horn. I had one of the ladies bought my problem pet package, and we'd done the soul level intuitive soul level animal communication, and I'd done a healing, and then I got a message for her. She'd obviously written it overnight because I woke up to it, and she just said, I'm something wrong with my dog. I'm really sorry to get in touch, but he can hardly move. I'm going to call the vet in the morning, but if there's anything that you can do, very apologetic. And normally obviously we don't encourage stuff like that, and it's not a first aid. Energy healing's not a first aid thing, but obviously I saw it in the morning, and I had a look at the dog, and I just gave him some energy healing and stuff like that, and I actually saw something pinching between his shoulders, and I was like, so I sent her an email saying, don't tell a vet this because it's probably garbage, but yes, he needs a vet, because I've got that. He needs a vet. You do need to see a vet in the morning. And I said, I think it's a pinched nerve. Random, right? But I was like, don't tell a vet, because A, it's really hard to connect under pressure, and B, it could be nonsense, like, because your brain's involved when there's a panic. You're like, it's really hard to switch that off. Anyway, it was a pinched nerve. So I am a medical intuitive. So I'm just going to have a look at you, Julie, and see where psychic gunk is, what I'm saying. But anyway, the dog is now fine. Everybody's relieved to know. And it's interesting actually, because when I did the body code, I did release some of the spinal discs. That's the ones. Right. Psychic gunk. So I'm going to ask my guys, because actually for me, for some reason it's green, because it looks like, do you remember slime?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a sort of Ghostbusters thing, isn't it? What do I mean by psychic gunk? So it's emotional gunk then,
I think
effectively.
I think it's negative belief. Channy will speak in what I call as millennial conversation, millennial language, which I don't.
That sounds so patronizing.
And I don't mean it patronizing. It's a different language. I'm not fluent. Again, I know enough to be dangerous because I'm a Gen Xer. I'm not a millennial. So
Is millennial people born in the 2000s?
they came of age in the 2000s.
Of age?
Yeah. So millennials
Oh
are.
my God, so 40 years younger than me.
Yeah. So like my nephew who is 22, he's not a millennial. He might be considered a young, like there's different grades of millennial from an advertising target audience perspective. The real millennials were the ones that came of age in the year 2000. So they are already 35, 40. They're up in that range. There is another subset of younger millennials that were born around the year 2000. And then after that comes Gen Z or Z. Like my nephew might be Gen Y. Gen Z is.
So you're saying that people who are 35 speak differently to us?
Speak differently than we do. They have different cultural touch points. They have different frame of mind. They went through the recession. When we were adults, they were kids, like, all this type of stuff. Well,
yeah, I suppose.
last recession, I should, yeah. So sometimes
psychic gunk is a millennial term that means.
I believe it means more negative beliefs.
Okay, maybe it is more slick then, right?
Could be, yeah, negative beliefs, emotional crap.
Okay, I'm going to caveat this with I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's see what happens.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only. So I'm going to connect to my guides, and they're laughing. What am I going to ask them? So what do you?
Yeah. You want me to tell you? Ask them what psychic gunk is in just ask them what psychic gunk is in my root system that I am working on to clear. That's what I'm curious about.
So when we talk about root system,
I'm
hearing chakras, but I think that's just because
yeah.
Okay.
That's how I interpret it too.
Hey.
That's how I interpret it as well. Root chakra.
Well, I'm getting it's all the chakras. Okay, so I'm going to ask my spirit guides, what is the psychic gunk that Julie's root system that she's working on, and what can I tell us about that? I immediately hear not worthy. I know this is something on. I'm just going to sit and see what. I'm not sure this is good entertainment.
No, this is great. Like maybe it's I would love it if it was like the final clearing of not worthy.
No. I see you with, it's like a wheelbarrow, and it's just full of stuff. It actually looks like those adverts, and you see on Facebook about, and they're cartoon, and they say like, get rid of your belly fat, and they have this picture of this horrible yellow spongy. That's what it looks like, and it's in a big wheelbarrow, and you are walking, holding the wheelbarrow. I assume you're dumping it. Let's see. You dump it, and you go. So I have a knowing though from that image that was given to me, and now a knowing of these. It's like this is not one big thing that you're getting rid of. It's like the residue that is left in like your, I want to say arteries or what, it's like in your, shall we say, your spiritual system. You've removed blockages and that, but there's still residual stuff. It's like you need to clean your pipes. you know, so there's still stuff there. So it's no longer being generated. You've got rid of the big stuff, but it takes, so what I'm hearing is it takes time for that stuff to shift, just because it has to, like, it's not enough just to flush the system. It's just like, it's like almost like we have to keep going back and just giving it another sort of blowing out the pipes just to get rid of it, because if we don't clear it completely, it can start collecting stuff again. And I'm hearing that you continue, not you personally, one will, you know, we tend to think, oh, I've addressed my unworthy, I'm fixed now, everything's going to be fine. It's like there is always going to be more stuff that will bring that up. The difference is you should catch it sooner, and it shouldn't get caught on all the other shit that's in there.
Okay.
So part of it is that to keep the open awareness that you are still forming new negative beliefs, not new negative, but you're still reinforcing those beliefs. So it's like not to let your guard down if it may come in a different form. I'm just going to ask for an example, or do you need an example of that? Or rather, it's like not to let your guard down and get complacent because you think you've worked on something. And actually this is resonating deeply with me as well, because every time I find myself at a low point again, I'm like, oh, you know, how much more? And it's like, it's not more, you're just catching new stuff. Like there's still a level. You need to build, and what I'm hearing is that you need to build the habits that stop you collecting more stuff. So we're getting there, but until you get to that level where you're literally just batting off this stuff and it doesn't affect you, there's always going to be more. But that's not something that's just life, that's just the way it goes. Eventually you get to a stage where it all just runs off you and you don't give a shit. But as long as we care about these things and get upset about them, which we both still do, there's still a potential for them to be caught. Does that make sense?
That makes wonderful sense.
So I'm going to ask, in the context of you receiving this information today, what I'm just going to ask them what's the significance of that and what they can share about that right now. They're telling me that you have shifted something big quite recently around this.
I believe I have, and I think it has to do with the moose, which I can share now, or I can wait a moment.
Yeah, no, share. Let's share.
Okay, and this is something I've actually been thinking about too. So, for those of you who aren't aware, I have this relationship with moose. When I lived in Alaska, I was absolutely terrified of them. And I wasn't at first. I actually put myself in a couple dangerous situations, didn't know I was in a dangerous situation. I'm like, oh, look, moose right there, which that's too close. Anyway, but then I increasingly grew afraid of them, blah, blah, blah. And then I had I have videos on my Facebook page of me with these moose. Anyway, but I've been working on this fear. And the thing that the moose were really trying to work with me on was self-esteem, stepping into my power, realizing that I'm connected to the divine, as all of us are, and using that to be strong and move forward. So recently, as you all know, because we had the last episode with Anne Marie and Healed by a Horse, working with the moose, and then I feel like the horses really kind of helped over the next little hump of that with the stepping into my power and feeling like higher self-esteem. I was just in Alaska last week and a half ago, because I chair a board of a nonprofit organization, and I didn't see a single moose. And where I stayed, there's moose all over the place, and bull moose as well. I didn't see a single moose the whole time I was there until the final hours of my time there. My friend, we were getting ready to go to dinner. We had just taken a hike. We were going to go to dinner. She's going to take me to the airport. And we saw a mama or a cow moose and a calf, but from behind on the other side of the road. And then when we went to turn around, because I just wanted to take a picture of a moose, she hid behind a big, huge, like there's these trees that their roots, their branches actually come from the ground. So it just becomes this big humongo bush. And you couldn't see her. I posted a picture, but you can't really see her. And so I was asking her like, okay, I think I know why you all haven't appeared to me. I think I know why you were hiding from me. And she said, yes, because you can feel how you stepped into that power. Because when I did the board meeting that week, I have never felt as comfortable and as strong as I did. I've always tested in Myers-Briggs to be a leader. Like I always have all the markings of a leader in any personality test, but I've done my whole life like, oh no, I've had so many bosses and so many people around me that want me to tamper that down and not step. They call me bossy. They call me all these things. And I'm like, okay, so I've always tampered it. And the Moose were trying to tell me to stop, which is also part of why I lost my job. But I think I felt really, really good in the board meeting. And I got a lot of positive feedback too, that how I handled myself was really confident and leaderly like and moving the organization forward. And I just feel really good about it. So I was asking the Moose, what the deal was, and they confirmed that was why they are there, but they're not needed by me right now. So what you just said, that makes that, so that's a long-winded story of why what you just said makes sense. But the clearing part, that residual stuff, and the diligence that you said, I was writing stuff down, like don't be complacent. That makes sense too.
And yeah, and as you're talking, I've been getting more, and it's almost like, how in Slick we when we teach people about these negative beliefs and they look for the behaviors that they start doing in order to protect themselves from negatively, the way you address it is that we start to look for the smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller ones, because they're a lot easier to address. Because if you take your really big issues and try and deal with them head on, I'm just gonna turn the light on. It suddenly got really dark.
It's overwhelming. Yeah, I thought either the sun came out or I'm like, oh look, the sun came out in Scotland, but no.
No, sun. So when we're learning this process, we start looking for the smaller and smaller things, because they're things you can go, oh my god, it's like this. A silly example would be ladies that never wear their nice pants because they always want to save them for a rainy day, and it's like, why do I do that? It's because I don't think I'm worthy, or I don't feel safe, supported, and protected. Like I'll never get nice pants again. All these, and it's like, because those are the ones you can look at and laugh at, yeah. and go, oh my god, this is so stupid. Why do I do this stuff? And it's like a light, fun way of seeing all of it. So, but what I'm seeing is a reverse of that. You've got the big stuff, yeah. Oh. But yeah, you need to start finding all the little ways that you are still. I hear the words not compromising. That's not the right word. It's like compromising, jeopardizing. It's like you're still like saying bad about yourself. What's that word? Sabotaging. You're still sabotaging in small ways, jokes, funny little comments, putting yourself down. It's the little things. That's the next level for you, because as long as they're like little hooks, if you imagine like in your arteries or whatever, these are the little hooks that the bigger things get caught on. At the moment, we're aware of the big ones and we can, see that coming, but it's almost like you need a scorched earth policy. And this is interesting because I have a friend who had a beautiful podcast. I'll put her in the notes. And I've talked about Chachi Power Project before, but it was a lady it's about body image and that, and it was about, well, where do you start with like not ever putting people down about what they look like? Not even if you can't say they're beautiful, say nothing. And that was her point. It's this sort of zero tolerance thing. Nothing ever. Don't do it. It's like it seems it's such an enormous thing to do, but once you start doing it, it takes over in all areas of your life, and you actually then find that somebody saying anything about anybody that's not positive, you actually find really offensive, because but you have to go for the little stuff, the little niggles that get in, the little jokes, little jibes, little that you either do to yourself or tolerate from somebody else.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
that's your psychic gunk. at the moment, and for some
Oh,
reason Brad comes to mind. I don't know if that's history or whether that's the guides,
I
but
wonder
it's
why. Yes, because yeah.
again, this is not about changing him, it's about you not engaging with it.
Yeah.
You not, it doesn't matter what he says, there's a challenge for you. It's about not taking it on board, whatever.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Julie.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, I know they say it's small, but that's a big one. But it's funny when you were talking about it, though, I could feel my, particularly this area. So the green part to me always indicates the heart chakra. For some reason, that's how whenever I hear someone saying, oh, you know, you've got green, then I'm like, oh, heart chakra, although green is my favorite color for different reasons. But anyway, but this felt open, like I said, I had to take a deep breath. I felt like I was taking a deep breath. So that's really interesting that's what, yeah, came through. Because that's actually been coming up of late again too. The little
He'll do that.
little looks. Yeah, and trying really hard not to take it personally, react, and just ignoring it.
And it's hard, right? Because they're in your face, pushing your buttons all the time.
Yeah, totally.
But that's why he's here,
I know.
to bring your attention to it.
I know.
I think it's something Abraham Hicks says about, you know, people have this idea that soulmates are these, you know, and you know, like you meet someone and you fall in love and everything's always one. And it's not. Your soulmates are the ones that are got to sort yourself out. They're sort of, you know, they're the ones that give us our challenges. They're the ones that make us acknowledge what is going on inside us. They're your soulmates, the bastards.
It's just like the guides too, because your soulmate might be pushing all your buttons, but they're doing it because they actually see the real you. And they also, at least that's my experience, and they also want you to be your best you, just like the guides. So what the guides will say are always messages of love. I'm TAing an intro course into developing one second.
TA being a teaching assistant,
Teaching
Julie.
assistant, thank you. Yes. And the students have been meeting their guides, and somebody made the comment that the guides yelled at them, and we were like, I go back and double check that, because guides typically, they may advise you, I will say strongly, but that's probably not the right word, but they'll clearly, but you still have free will, and they're doing it because they love you, and they're not going to yell at you. They're not going to tell you.
I've never had my guides say or do, and actually even tell me anything that isn't something that if I sat down and tried to be kind to myself that I could come up with. Like I've never had anything that is contradictory to what I would want to believe if I wasn't all, you know, if I could detach myself from a situation. I certainly wouldn't expect my guys to shout at me, and I'd be sacking them, frankly. Well, you get enough of that yourself. You don't need to go to your guides for that. So, so really what you're saying is that's possibly not your guides, or you've put too much of a filter on it.
Yeah.
Because we all have filters.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from that.
No, that's what makes us human. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to ask specifically about psychic junk? I'm seeing you lighting candles, Julie. I'm not a big, well, actually, no, I'm a big one for ritual, but it seems to be more about, it's now enveloping into a little bit of self-care for you, lying in a bath with candles and things like that. Something that, it's almost like you need a little ritual for yourself to go, gosh, look what I've achieved, look what I've done. Big sigh, I have released all this stuff, and now I have the joy of looking at the silly little things that can lead to bigger irritations. That's what I'm hearing, and I'm seeing that sort of image of like a pearl sand, and that is that you're not making a pearl, you're making a mess.
Making a mess.
No, but you're storing up trouble for the future by lacquering that pearl, shall we say. You know, it's like get rid of the sand.
Oh, that makes sense, because that was actually, I think, my horoscope yesterday. So this stuff was my horoscope for Monday, And then my horoscope for yesterday, which was the actual eclipse, I woke up really tired, oddly enough. And the first line of my horoscope was go back to bed. And I'm like, yes.
Did you?
I moved slowly. I stayed in bed for a while. I didn't go back to sleep, which I actually really wanted to, but I started to meander and play with different things like my horoscope and then a book I was reading, and then wanting to write notes about the book, which I never take the time to do. And then I took a really long walk with Lucas, and then I made a beautiful breakfast. So I didn't get on email. I didn't start playing on social media. I stayed off of it. And I didn't actually have a meeting. I actually did my exercise class, which is Core Qigong, which I love, with Stephen Washington. And then what else did I do? Then I had a meeting at 3:30. What else did I do? I had a meeting, and I had something else. I don't remember. Anyway, and I had a reading, and it ended up being a great day. So instead of like using that big, huge chunk of time to like stay on the computer, I did anything but, and that felt really good. So, yeah.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I see my guys obviously couldn't possibly be alcohol. It must be elderflower hanging. Elderflower and gooseberry. So the stuff that I put in the shed. Oh, that's a different story.
Okay.
Gooseberry and elderflower, but they also do like an elderflower fizzy. Anyway, sorry, I don't know. I'm talking about alcohol. But a wee celebration for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. And then I will say today's horoscope was saying that my calendar was about to get unwieldy, and so I need to streamline it and let go of things I don't want to do anymore. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by astrology, but it is one of these things I think I might lose myself in if I looked at it too closely. But having said that, there must be a draw to it, because the fact that I read and I know this is really high level, but works for me. I am so Sagittarius. There is, I don't think there's anything that I've ever read about Sagittarius where I thought, oh, that's not me. And interestingly, even the things that they commonly describe as perhaps we used to call them features at work, i.e. something, rather than your flaws, are your features. Even things that I would read that other people might think are flaws, I think that's pretty fucking cool, actually. Like being outspoken, being loud. Okay, maybe I don't want to think of myself as loud, but maybe that's true of everything. There's a way you can couch all those qualities that are actually really, really strong qualities. And actually, that reminds me, I don't know why I'm going with this, but since I'm on a roll, the things that are our strengths can also be our biggest downfall. It's all about how you apply it. Like being outspoken as I am, believe it or not, that's also in a different context can also be seen as a flaw, but they're actually exactly the same quality. And what I'm hearing, and this is from you, is if it's coming from love, it's the right side of it. If it's coming from fear, it's the wrong side of it. But they're all the same qualities.
Yeah. No, I was good. That actually is, when you were talking about that, I thought, oh, there's a little bit of the gunk to clog the arteries, because stepping into my power and being the leader feels very good. It feels natural. At the same time, though, I can hear this little over here and get pulled and just like, okay, but don't use it unwisely. Don't use it to the detriment. Don't use it poorly. So which then starts to make me feel like, oh, I can't really do it, which that right there is the plaque, or the clogging. I call it plaque, like from the heart arteries. But
yes,
yeah, that's the plaque.
Because that's fear.
Yeah.
And that is somebody else's voice going, pipe down, Julie, don't get above yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself. Who do you think you are?
Exactly. So as you were saying that, I'm like, my guys were with me and they were tracking. They're like, see, here's where the plaque is. Okay, now come back here. And then here's your guidepost. Love. Cool.
And back to this limitless thing, that we just, I have a quote. I know that, sorry, the one that's come to mind is inappropriate, but I think it's Silky Ganache from RuPaul's or whatever, but it's like, don't let anyone tell you you're too loud. basically, I think it was in my last newsletter, but it's something along those lines. And it really hits a resonance with me, because although I don't like remember this about myself, there is and I think it's because it's been squashed down like from such an early age. Like I don't think of myself as being loud and boisterous and all of that, but actually I think naturally I am. But my mother would always say, stop showing off, it was a way of controlling me, stop showing off. And it in such a way that, you know, it's like showing off is such a bad thing. You know, you're going to go to hell for showing off.
Yeah.
You know, that it's like even the thought that somebody thinks I'm showing off is enough to fill me with horror. How can I shine my light, Julie, if I can't show off?
Oh, I know.
You know.
Did your mom? Yeah. Did you say your mom said that to you? Don't show up.
Oh God, if I was boisterous about anything, excited about anything, she would say, stop showing off. Or if I she was so unfair. Sorry, bit emotional. If I disagreed with her about anything, because in public she would always I know now, try to shame me. At the time I didn't know. At the time I thought, why is she doing this in public? She's relying on my good manners not to answer her back in public. I was aware of this at a very young age. Like she would tell me to do something that I felt was unreasonable. And I'd think, why is she doing this in public? She knows I'm going to argue with her. Oh, I'm not allowed to argue with her in public. Wow. You know, it's her way of getting it. Yeah. But yeah, it was always stop showing off.
So it's interesting because my mom's line to me was, nobody gives a damn, Julie. So I would share something.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, because I would share something, either I wasn't feeling well or something else, but usually it had to do around not feeling physically well or needing support somehow. And it was, nobody gives a damn. And I knew where it came from, because her mom was a hypochondriac and would constantly complain. And my mom always had to step up and take care of the complaint. So she was trying to teach us, stop complaining. I understand that, but it hurt. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I think that's a thing that we have to remember as well. Our parents were just doing what they could with what they had, and it, you know, but you know, and this is something we should talk about, actually, because since it's come up, because this is what Eva Baronius is all about. It's like we can know all this logically, but there's still a part of you that that you don't even know is a part of you that needs that attention, or in your case of wanting that validation, and that we tend, because there's always a louder part of us. So if it's not our parent, it then becomes us, that voice that shuts you down, because it's not safe. It's not safe for you to be vulnerable, because you got shut down by your mother. Your mother signaled to you that that was not a welcome scenario. Yeah. So there's a little bit of Julie in there that you don't even know exists, because it gets shut down by your protector. They're very big on roles. And I think it's, you know, I don't think any one method is singularly enough for us to navigate our way through life, but having an awareness of that. And this is another thing that we should talk about that sometime. The protective roles that you have are quite often the loud ones, but sometimes you have to get past them to find out what they're protecting. And they're protecting the very small Julie, who actually wanted attention, and you probably would not look yourself, you might now, because you're, you know, more informed. Like I wouldn't have thought of myself as wanting to show off. I remember saying to you about when we did the soul types that I'm a performer. I couldn't see that in myself because it was shut down. There'd always be another voice that would come out that goes, stop showing off. And I take on that role when my mother's long gone. That role in me stands up and goes, shut up, Kate. You know, and for you it would be, nobody gives a damn, Julie. Like, anyway, well, I'm rambling.
No, I love it. I just wrote it down as a note for an addition for a episode coming forward. But yeah, no, that makes so much sense. I love the idea of whatever your parents didn't help spotlight for you to work on, your own voice kind of does, and even magnifies it. Wow. Because it reminds me of that. Remember that Matt Kahn, that I got the little 2-minute intuitive reading from Matt Kahn because I bought his book. And he was talking about, I need to reach back out to my inner child and actually be vulnerable with them, because I was the brave one, because I was told not to be vulnerable. So I'm just like, oh my God, like all the things. It's just this whole big web of stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cool. Is there anything else
Well, that wraps it up for today then.
I was gonna say, was there anything else you want me to ask anything for you, or do you feel good? You're going on.
Listen, Julie, I'm going on holiday. I don't give a shit about all my psychic gunk. I'm going to flush it out with seawater. I have had a journey, as you know, over the last few weeks. I'm in a nice place right now, thanks to you, your guys, and also my friend Kathy. I don't know if Kathy watches this. Hi, Kathy.
It's all you, Kate. It's all you.
She does amazing healing as well, and she's doing this new thing. But all the stuff, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's been up and down. I've grown a huge awareness, and actually a little bit more respect for my own wounds, which I think I'm learning is important. They don't go away just because I want them to go away, and actually not indulging them, that's the wrong word, but when they come up, they're real. They don't just, it's not on my timeline. That's what I've learned. But as you advised me, this being featured practitioner and that, it's almost like you're thrown out into this spotlight and you're like, like I didn't think it would bother me at all. And that bit of it didn't, but what it does do is just bring up all your other shit.
Yeah.
And better out than in, but it's been rocky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't, yeah.
Also that makes me better informed for helping other people. And I was thinking about that. It's like every time we go through this hump, as it were, the up and the down, you think, I'm better informed now. I can see when, like, it helps me see with other people. It's like, you actually don't want your therapist or coach to be a fucking know-all, because if they're not vulnerable, they're not learning anymore. You and I know we'll never get this licked.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Being Danielle McKinnon's featured practitioner, it was for me also much more about the vulnerability, emotional engagement of the business than it was the business itself. That comes, it's more about, yeah, it was the most transformative part of it. So yeah, grateful to her. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So we're good.
Does that mean we can tag her in our YouTube?
Why not? So why not? Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, so I think that's it then for today, right? So we will see everybody in 2 weeks, right? So Kate, have a wonderful, relaxing holiday. Think
Fishes. That's all I have to say.
Fishes.
Diving in the Red Sea.
Oh, nice. Have you been?
Oh, is it the Red Sea? Oh, I don't even know if it's the Red Sea or the Mediterranean. I think it's I don't know.
No.
Hurghada. Well, it's the Egyptian coast, but I think I'm showing my ignorance, but I'm pretty sure there's 2 coastlines on Egypt, but I may be completely wrong.
So no pyramids, you're doing more of like a...
No.
Okay.
No. It's quite we can go to Luxor, but it's like a 6-hour round trip. I'm not sure I could be bothered.
Okay.
And also, apparently they're still wearing masks, so I don't know if I want to do that in 30-degree heat.
No.
Which is hot, sorry.
Yes. No, yeah, it's 30 degrees Celsius heat. Yes. Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then,
Right.
wrap us up there, Kate.
So I'm Kate Fogger. This is Julie Hart. Together we are making like 2 humans, being humans mostly. You can follow us right here on YouTube to be notified of, in fact, subscribe rather than follow on YouTube to be notified of new episodes. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, where we also put on news. And if you have any comments or suggestions, anything you want, please put it in the comments below or comment on Facebook and Instagram, and we will answer you, and we're quite happy to get suggestions for new topics. So thank you. We do get a lot of comments privately. I would encourage people to make it public. We really want to get some more subscribers. We want to reach more people, so anything you can do, share our stuff, we would be most grateful.
Even if you give it a thumbs up, that helps too. So yeah, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.